Hello and welcome and namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Zelensky looks to shore up European support as he meets his France's Macron in Paris. US envoy Steve Witkoff to head to Kremlin after meeting with a Ukrainian delegation in Florida to hammer out a peace deal. Indonesia's flood death toll jumps to 600 after rare tropical storm triggers mudslides and floodwaters stream into parts of Sumatra. Over 1.4 million people hit. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi says the nation is moving towards new heights and Parliament will play a vital role in infusing new energy and strength into that journey at the start of its winter session. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Paris on Monday seeking to shore up crucial European support at a turning point in Kyiv's war against Russia. His meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron comes as Washington presses a new plan to end the conflict. Zelensky's talks at the Elysee Palace focused on Ukraine's next steps as Kyiv weighs its response to the US-backed framework pushed by President Donald Trump. European leaders, however, remain cautious, warning that any deal must not compromise Ukraine's sovereignty or reward Russian aggression. US and Ukrainian officials held what both sides called productive talks on Sunday about a Russian peace deal, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio expressing optimism about progress despite challenges to ending the more than 3-year-long conflict. Meanwhile, Ukraine's defense minister has attended a meeting in Brussels on Monday. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said that it could be a pivotal week for diplomacy on Ukraine as she arrived for the EU defense ministers' meeting.
It is clear that Russia does not want peace, and therefore we need to make Ukraine as stronger as possible in order to them to be ready to stand up for themselves in this very, very difficult time. It could be a pivotal week for diplomacy.
On the other side, the Kremlin said on Monday that a Ukrainian attack on the Caspian Pipeline Consortium infrastructure was outrageous, given its international significance and participation. The project, which includes Russian, Kazakh and US shareholders, the authorities said on Saturday that one of the 3 mooring points at its Novorossiysk terminal in Russia had been damaged by a Ukrainian drone attack and that its operations had been halted. In a call with journalists, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov called the Ukrainian attack, as I mentioned, outrageous. He criticized Ukrainian sea drone attacks on oil tankers in the Black Sea as well.
Атаки украинских дронов на объекты критической инфраструктуры это
The practice of Ukrainian drone attacks on critical infrastructure continues. Our relevant agencies are providing security and necessary measures are being taken. However, it sometimes happens that, for one reason or another, critical infrastructure facilities are damaged. This particular attack is outrageous given its international significance and the involvement of international partners.
В данном случае, конечно, это вопиющий случай, потому что
Britain and the United States are poised to agree to zero tariffs on pharmaceutical products, with an announcement due at the White House on Monday, according to 2 sources familiar with the matter. The sources said the deal is expected to include an increase in the percentage of the state-run National Health Service budget that is spent on medicines. It will also involve a major change in the value appraisal framework at NICE, a UK government body that determines whether new drugs are cost-effective for the NHS. British Science Minister Patrick Vallance had earlier flagged that trade talks with the United States would likely lead to higher government spending on some medicines. US President Donald Trump has pressed Britain and the rest of Europe to pay more for American medicines, part of his push for US medicine costs to be brought more in line with those paid in other wealthy nations. Now, Washington, D.C. is signaling a renewed push on Ukrainian diplomacy, with pointed remarks from both U.S. lawmakers and President Trump shaping the tone. As Kyiv continues to press for support, key voices in Washington, D.C. are outlining what they see as the path forward, even as debate grows over the extent of U.S. involvement. Deeptanshu Kashyap has more.
The United States and Ukraine held what both sides described as productive talks in Florida as Washington advanced its plan to end the more than 3-year conflict with Russia. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met a Ukrainian team led by National Security Council Secretary Rustam Umerov for discussions. The meeting followed Kyiv's reshuffle of its negotiation team amid a corruption scandal.
We had another very productive session building off Geneva, building off the events of this week. As I told you earlier this morning, our goal here is to end the war, but it's more than just to end the war. We don't just want to end the war, we also want to help Ukraine be safe forever, so never again will they face another invasion, and equally importantly, we want them to enter an age of true prosperity.
The Florida talks formed part of a revised U.S. peace blueprint. Washington is now trying to secure agreement on key points as Special Envoy Steve Witkoff travels to Moscow for further talks. But the process remains delicate, with several difficult issues still unresolved.
Well, they're going along, and they're going along well. We want to stop people from being killed. Doesn't have much to do with us, but I'd like to see if we could save a lot of souls. A lot of people are being killed.
Have you spoken with Rubio and Witkoff since
I
that
have,
meeting?
yeah. I've spoken to them, and they're doing well. Ukraine's got some difficult little problems. They have some difficult problems, but I think Russia would like to see it end, and I know Ukraine would like to see it end.
The diplomatic focus now shifts to Moscow, where Witkoff is expected to present Washington's latest positions. As negotiations resume and all parties balance pressure with cautious optimism, the coming days will be key to seeing whether this diplomatic push can move the peace effort forward. Deeptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appeared in court on Monday for the first time since asking the country's president for a pardon in his long-running corruption trial, a request backed by close ally, U.S. President Donald Trump. Opposition politicians have come out against the request, with some arguing that any pardon should be conditional on Netanyahu retiring from politics and admitting guilt. Others have said the Prime Minister must first call national elections, which are due by October 2026, before requesting any pardon. Naftali Bennett, a former Prime Minister, said he would support ending the trial if Netanyahu were to agree to withdraw from politics in order to pull Israel out of this chaos. Polls show Bennett is the most likely to head the next government if Netanyahu departs. Meanwhile, Israel's President Herzog has said he would focus only on Israel's best interests when he weighs Netanyahu's request for a pardon on corruption charges. Netanyahu and his wife Sarah stand accused in one case of accepting more than $260,000 worth of luxury goods such as cigars, jewelry and champagne from billionaires in exchange for political favors. Now shifting focus to the Asia-Pacific, the toll in deadly flooding and landslides across parts of Asia has climbed past the 1100 mark on Monday as hardest hit Indonesia and Sri Lanka deployed military personnel to help survivors. Rescue teams and residents in Indonesia's West Sumatra battled to clear roads blocked by mud and debris, while improving weather revealed the scale of a disaster that has killed at least 600 people in the nation. A further 464 remain missing. Indonesia's disaster management agency has said more than 28,000 homes have been damaged and 1.4 million people affected. Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto has visited 3 affected provinces on Monday and praised residents for their spirit in the face of what he called a catastrophe. The government has sent 3 warships carrying aid and 2 hospital ships to some of the worst hit areas where many roads remain impassable. Hong Kong authorities have confirmed alarming lapses in fire safety at the Wang Fuk Court Estate, where at least 151 people have died in last week's devastating blaze. Officials said on Monday that more than 20 mesh samples were tested and 7 of them taken from 4 of the estate's 7 towers failed to meet fire retardant standards. Investigators revealed that the green mesh wrapped around bamboo scaffolding on the buildings did not match required fire-resistant specifications, raising fresh questions about compliance and oversight. Meanwhile, police teams continue sweeping the charred towers, discovering more victims in stairwells and on rooftops, where residents became trapped while trying to escape the fast-spreading fire. Hong Kong police have now arrested 13 people so far on the suspicion of manslaughter.
In these samples, we found that 7 of them did not meet the standards. We found that many of the samples that can be easily obtained by hand are more qualified. Some of the samples that are far from reach are more likely to be unqualified. We will continue to obtain more samples for further investigation. The speed of the fire is not normal. We believe that the protective mesh and the styrofoam are the cause of the fire.
A Bangladesh court sentenced British parliamentarian and former minister Tulip Siddique in absentia to 2 years in jail on Monday in a corruption case involving the alleged illegal allocation of a plot of land. Siddique, who resigned in January as the UK's minister responsible for financial services and anti-corruption efforts following scrutiny over financial ties to Sheikh Hasina, has previously dismissed the allegations as a politically motivated smear. Britain does not have any extradition treaty with Bangladesh. The sons of Pakistan's jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan fear that the country's authorities are concealing something irreversible about his condition after more than 3 weeks, with no evidence that he is still alive. As court-ordered prison visits stay blocked, his son Qasim said that the family has had no direct or verifiable contact with Imran Khan despite a judicial order for weekly meetings. According to reports, the family has repeatedly sought access for Khan's personal physician, who has not been allowed to examine him for more than a year. Reuters news agency reported that a jail official has said that the former Prime Minister was in good health, adding that he was not aware of any plan for a move to any another high-security facility. Let's now take a look at what else is making news around the world as well. Pope Leo visited Lebanon on Monday, warmly greeting cheering crowds as he made his way to the tomb of Saint Charbel at the monastery of Saint Maroun, honoring the revered saint and continuing his regional mission. This visit follows a 4-day trip to Turkey. Disney's new animated film Zootopia 2 earned $556 million in global ticket sales over the US Thanksgiving weekend, marking the biggest ever worldwide launch for an animated film. The sequel brings back rookie police officers Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde as they tackle a new mystery involving Gary the Snake. Brussels launched Christmas season with Echoes of Colours, a 5-minute sound and light show projected onto the City Hall Tower at the Grand Place to entertain and delight residents and tourists with festive illuminations presented through vibrant projections and citywide Christmas decorations. It will run until the 1st of January. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India to assume chairship of International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. And the 4th edition of Kashi Tamil Sangamam is set to begin from Tuesday.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged the opposition to focus on delivering a productive parliament session The PM was addressing journalists ahead of the commencement of the winter session of the 18th Lok Sabha at Parliament House. He called on the opposition to raise relevant and strong issues.
कोई भी दल हो, हमें किसी को भी हमारी ये नई पीढ़ी के आ रहे नौजवान सांसद, पहली बार आए हुए सांसद, उनको अवसर देना चाहिए। उनके अनुभवों का हमें सदन को लाभ मिलना चाहिए। इस नई पीढ़ी के अनुभव सदन के माध्यम से राष्ट्र को भी लाभान्वित करेंगे और इसलिए मेरा आग्रह रहेगा कि हम इन चीजों को गंभीरता से लें। ड्रामा करने के लिए जगह बहुत होती है, जिसको करना है करते रहें। यहां ड्रामा नहीं, डिलीवरी होनी चाहिए। नारे के लिए भी जितने नारे बुलवाने हैं वो पूरा देश खाली पड़ा है। जहां पराजित होकर के आए वहां बोल चुके हो, जहां अभी पराजय के लिए जाने वाले हो वहां भी बोल दीजिए, लेकिन यहां तो नारे नहीं, नीति पर बल देना चाहिए।
India will assume the chairship of International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, that international idea, for the year 2026, contributing to the strengthening of election management bodies across the world. India's Chief Election Commissioner, Gyanesh Kumar, will accept the chairship of the international idea on the 3rd of December at Stockholm in Sweden.
The world recognizes successful conduct of free, fair and transparent elections in India, and therefore, for the first time in its history of 30 years, the prestigious group of 37 democratic countries of the world have invited India to chair the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, International IDEA. This is a moment of immense pride for all the citizens of India and for all the election officials. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Indian naval ship Sukanya arrived at the port of Trincomalee on Monday, carrying essential relief supplies for communities affected by the recent catastrophic floods in Sri Lanka. The offshore patrol vessel delivered food items and emergency equipment to support ongoing rescue and relief works. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar confirmed the arrival on X, highlighting the continued humanitarian assistance from India. Cyclone Ditwa has left behind a trail of devastation with over 1.1 million people affected, 355 confirmed deaths and 366 still missing across 25 districts of Sri Lanka. Under Operation Sagar Bandhu, the relief assets sent by India are now fully engaged across multiple disaster-hit districts, strengthening local rescue and recovery efforts amid rising casualties and persistent risks of flooding and landslides. National Disaster Response Force of Sri Lanka, of India, in fact, has been conducting rescue missions in Badulla, which has been the worst hit by landslides during the cyclone. The NDRF has already recovered 3 bodies, while search for more remains and survivors remains on. The bodies have been respectfully handed over to local authorities. On the sidelines of the 12th CII Big Picture Summit in Mumbai, India's Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, in partnership with the Confederation of Indian Industry, organized Wave X, the nation's first dedicated national startup accelerator for films, animation, VFX, gaming, comics, extended reality and media technology sectors. INB Secretary Sanjay Jaju visited the Wave X venue, interacting with participants and emphasizing the government's commitment to nurturing India's rapidly expanding creative tech ecosystem. Wave X aims to support creators, founders, studios and creative technologists by helping them transform innovative ideas into scalable ventures.
It's a great initiative by CII and the government to bring all emerging companies and otherwise also larger companies in the media space in a collective forum where people can look at interesting opportunities both to invest as well as companies looking to raise funds can kind of come here and look for investors which will be relevant for them.
It's come from the INB ministry and CII. So I think people take it seriously. And when they meet you as a creator, or when a creator meets an investor, there's an element of seriousness to that discussion. It's not just another platform that's just a junket, you know. And I think that is very important.
Israel's Defense Ministry, in collaboration with Tel Aviv University, organized a Defense Tech Week, showcasing upcoming and existing state-of-the-art defense equipment and technologies. It has attracted startups, military industry leaders, students and defense enthusiasts from around the world. Akshay Dongre reports from Tel Aviv.
So right now we are in Tel Aviv, Israel, and the place where we are at is at the Tel Aviv University, which is also hosting the Defense Tech Week 2025. Now, it's like a conference that has been held for the defense industry of Israel, which is in fact one of the highest and most sophisticated defense industries in the world. So standing here, there are startups, there are legacy companies here like the Rafale system, which is displaying all of its state-of-the-art technology. For example, this is an iron beam. It looks like a Hollywood style of a weapon, sci-fi fiction coming true on the battlefield. And the good news is that the system that is capable of killing targets up to 10 kilometers will be integrated into the world-renowned Iron Dome system of Israel. The IAI is also a major firm here that is mostly into the unmanned aerial vehicles, but there is a range of other missiles and weapon defense systems that have been developed by the IAI. It has also worked with the Indian defense system. For example, when it comes to Heron Mark II UAVs that are being used by the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy now as well. So it has been one of the most state-of-the-art UAV system in the world. Elbit system also is here. It talks about how the military defense ecosystem works here in Israel, how it is one of the most efficient systems, despite the smaller size of Israel, despite the smaller population of the country. When it comes to defense system, Israel has been perhaps one country that has thwarted off all the threats in its neighborhood with most of indigenous systems that the country has developed. A big lesson for India, something that can be learned. And in fact, it's not just the people who are into the defense industry that have come here. There are students from university, there are startups, there are foreign delegates that are gathered to understand and to implement, collaborate with the Israeli defense industry. And as far as the conference is concerned, it's quite lively and it's going to go on for a week, and can see a lot of collaboration with foreign partners, including India as well, in these kind of different systems that can be quite effective and can be collaborated to further initiatives like Make in India as well. In Tel Aviv, Israel, Akshay Dongre for DD India.
Now, the fourth edition of Kashi Tamil Sangamam will begin on Tuesday, highlighting the deep civilizational and cultural ties between Tamil Nadu and Kashi. Centered on the theme, Let Us Learn Tamil, Tamil Karkalam, this year's edition places Tamil language learning at its core. Key initiatives include Tamil Karkalam, that is Tamil teaching in Varanasi schools, Tamil Karpom, that is study tours for 300 students from the Kashi region to learn Tamil, and Sage Agastya vehicle expedition, which retraces the ancient cultural route from Tenkasi to Kashi. And in sporting updates, Punjab National Bank has appointed Indian women's cricket team captain Harmanpreet Kaur as its new brand ambassador. As an important personality in Indian cricket, she has contributed to countless historic wins. Recently, Harmanpreet Kaur led India to a historic ICC Women's ODI World Cup win in the start of November. Now, this collaboration is intended to result in fresh campaigns promoting financial literacy, women's empowerment and sports involvement. With Harmanpreet Kaur as its face, PNB not only improves its brand presence but also delivers a powerful message about promoting talent, tenacity and leadership.
आज मुझे यहाँ पर खड़ा देखकर many girls are going to be inspired because जैसे कि this is first women cricketer who is going to be brand ambassador of PNB, and I think in future many more girls will come and be brand ambassador of many big companies and many big banks, I would say. And I think I just want to thank a lot because this is going to be game changing moment for many girls, because क्रिकेट में हम जो कर सकते थे हमने वो करके दिखाया, बट नाउ द सपोर्ट वी वांट फ्रॉम इंडियन पब्लिक, इंडियन फैंस, that is going to be very game changing moment for all the girls who are sitting there. They are going to get lot of moments back home. आज मुझे यहाँ पर देखकर, and they are going to dream big.
And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.